So the Yankees makes a couple of roster moves, and their trade deadline focus is becoming a little bit more obvious. Hey, gang, I hope you're all doing well. So obviously the Yankees are coming off a disappointing series loss to the Atlanta Braves. And they're off today, but they start a series tomorrow against the Mets in Citi Field. And then they have to face the Red Sox after that. The Red Sox are kind of playing hot right now. So I don't know what's going to happen. But, there's some things to keep in mind. The Yankees have been playing poorly, but so are the Baltimore Orioles this last series too. They just got swept by the Houston Astros. So they had an opportunity to gain the ground on the Yankees and take over first place. They didn't take it. Okay, so the Yankees aren't the only team that's struggling right now. Okay, at least in this last series. So there's a little bit of silver lining there. But that being said, that's not excusing poor offensive play by the Yankees. Not great bullpenning by the Yankees. So there are things that need to happen, and obviously the Yankees have been making a lot of incremental moves. Okay, and first of which being yesterday, they optioned out Oswald Peraza again to AAA. Okay, and it's like, why did he bring him up here for one day and not even play him? I get that, totally makes sense. I didn't think they were going to make a trade for J.D. Davis yesterday either, but they did. Versatility in the infield there. And again, I think he's 30. So, and he was very good with the Mets. He had 18 home runs last year with the Giants too, at 22 with the Mets. Like, he's a pretty solid contact hitter. And the fact is, the Yankees need contact bats right now, right? They are. Excuse me. I just wanted to add that in there. Excuse me. They're top heavy and bottom light, and that's got to change. Now, J.D. Davis has been DFA'd this year twice, so he's definitely not going to be the savior. So let's not think of him as the savior. Okay, let's just be straight about that now. But it's clear that the Yankees are trying to make incremental moves that they hope could be beneficial on the cheap before they are in a position to have to overpay in a trade deadline, at the trade deadline. Because that's what's generally going to happen with some of the players that are being talked about. It becomes a bidding war, and the winning team is generally going to overpay. Okay, and again, we don't need to do that if they don't. If that doesn't always need to happen. Okay, this is why the Yankees are making a lot of these margin moves right now. They're considered dumpster diving or whatever. Okay, but that's the first roster move. Okay, Oswald Peraza with J.D. Davis coming in. The other move is J.T. Brubaker. Okay, he started his rehab last week. They transferred his rehab from low A to the Florida Complex League, which is essentially rookie ball. It's the next step on his way towards working his way back up to the major leagues. He's in his rehab now. Scott Efros is in his rehab too. So we have two pitching reinforcements working their way back from rehab. They're in the beginning stages of the rehab, so it's going to take a little while. But it is what it is, right? And stay tuned, gang. Make sure, like I said, if you're not subscribed to this channel, hit that subscribe button. Okay, I always ask folks to do this because I want you to be in the loop when news comes out. I want you to be at the front of the line. Okay, and when I go live, I do open panels, and we're going to be very busy as we get close to the trade deadline. I don't want you to miss any of it. So I thank you so much for it. Okay, your support means the world. So I welcome you to the 161 family. So those are the roster moves. Okay, but going back to the trade deadline, we talked about this a lot over the last week, right? And they brought an increment. They've gotten there's been a lot of bullpen turnover this past week, right? Tim Hill, Phil Bickford, Chasen Shreve, they optioned out, or they DFA'd Victor Gonzalez, even with 2 years of control left before he's a free agent. So, they're clearly not happy with the way the bullpen is going right now. Clay Holmes hit a rough patch, even though he was good yesterday. So what those rough patches are going to be good ones. So I expect them to be good at some point moving forward, too. And that does not mean, like Mason Miller, the guys he has rough patches, too. So does Josh Hader. So do some of these well-known relievers. They all have rough patches. Every single one of them. So Clay Holmes isn't the only one. Okay? But going back to this, what are your takes? What do you think the Yankees need to do? If you were going to pick 2 or 3 moves, what would they be? Load up the comments. I want to know what your thoughts are, okay? And what would you be willing to give up? Okay? I put out a video the other day on multiplayer trades because if there's an opportunity to kill 2 birds with one stone, address 2 positions in one trade, they might want to consider doing that. I have a feeling Dodgers are going to wind up doing that. Maybe the Phillies. Maybe teams that are upstart, like the Mariners, right? Some of these teams are on the verge of really contending. The Royals, okay? And the Dodgers are right yet there, but they also have the prospect depth to facilitate a trade. And they have needs, okay? As do the Yankees. So multiplayer trades might be a good idea. Trading from depth is obviously a good idea to address positions of need. They've got to get better in the infield. We need more contact bats on the bottom part of this lineup to continue to put the ball in play. It can't just be automatic outs from basically 5 to 9 or 6 to 9. Can't be that way. Okay? They've got to upgrade in the infield. They've got to upgrade even on the offensive side at catcher, right? So there are some people here that either can be called up or recalled and so on and so forth that can facilitate some of this stuff and maybe make it so that they don't have to make a trade at the deadline. So we'll see if they actually do that. Okay, but the fact is they have needs and they need to address them. And the sooner that they do it, the better off they're going to be. I know it's not always the easiest thing in the world to do it sooner before the trade deadline because they're waiting for prices to go up as they do, but teams get a little bit more active and certain other teams become desperate. Okay, and desperate teams are willing to overpay. And this is exactly what the trade deadline does. They exploit desperate teams, capitalize on them, and desperate teams pay, sometimes ridiculously pay for talent, for players that are in demand. So that's going to happen in a lot of situations. Generally, the Yankees don't do that at the trade deadline. When they overpay, it's in free agency. Okay, and Brian Cashman has a track record of this. Garrett Coley, massive pay, right? Mark Teixeira, massive pay. Like CC Sabathia, massive. Like they set the markets generally in their position. So when the Yankees really wanted somebody, they get their man, right? So will they get their man or men at the trade deadline? It still remains to be seen. And who are the men? Okay, because I don't think J.D. Davis is going to represent the savior. There's not a player here, whether it be Ryan McMahon or Luis Rengifo, Jazz Chisholm, none of them are going to be the savior to this team. They need multiple players. That's obvious, okay? No matter what anybody says, this is an obvious fact. Our opinions aren't going to change the fact, okay? But again, you let me know what your feelings are on this, what your thoughts are. What's the biggest need? How would you address it, okay? Because it looks like their trade deadline strategy is trying to address certain needs on the cheap before having to address them on the expensive, pretty much. And that's kind of the modus operandi for the Yankees. That's how Hal operates, and it's already said they don't want to ridiculously overpay because they want to be in a better position to re-sign Juan Soto. Well, there you go. That could be the strategy there. So I don't expect them to take on super expensive contracts like Nolan Arenado and all this other stuff. You know, they're not dealing in the we don't care about the money universe right now. Certain fans will, certain channels will, but not the Yankees. Okay, so but that's where they're at right now. Okay, and like I said, for me, I would try to bring in 2 relievers and 1 or 2 contact bats. Okay, we'll see if J.D. Davis brings them any value. I have no idea. They got him on a cheap anyway. So if it doesn't work out, they move on. Same thing goes for Ben Rice. I'm excited about him. I hope he pans out at first base. And I've said this too. I hope Augustin Ramirez gets an opportunity to maybe platoon with Austin Wells because I think it'd be a better pairing, a catcher, especially on the offensive side. Maybe that'll happen too. Maybe they'll get a Garrett Crochet. Maybe they'll get a right-handed, fireball or 2, Ryan Presley or somebody. Maybe they'll just call Clayton Beeter when he's healthy. Bring in someone else. So there's options. There's a lot of them. And the trade deadline will present other options that we're not even thinking about right now. So, but I will keep you updated one way or the other on roster moves, on trade proposals, on any articles I see. This guy might be a good fit and so on and so forth that I find valuable to share with you. I'm going to keep it coming. Okay? So stay tuned, gang. It's going to get crazy over the next several weeks because the trade deadline was about 5 weeks away. So it's going to get lit. And each week, we'll probably hear about a new player that wasn't talked about the week before. So this is the fun part. This is the fun part. So buckle up. What'll be more fun is if the Yankees start winning more games. That'll be more fun. That'll make it more exciting for us as fans to go into the trade line feeling a heck of a lot better. I don't know about you guys, but that's how I feel. You let me know what your thoughts are. If anything else comes out, you're gonna get it here. Peace.